Novice Broadcast Crew, Week 4, 2021. Here's what's on the agenda for this week. Broadcast Basics Training, Capturing and Editing Basics, Assignment 3, which is Media Story Number 1, and this week's to-do. So let's get started. This week we'll continue our Broadcast Basics training and development of our first media story with Capturing and Editing Basics. First, let's take a look at our Capturing Basics training. Here we go. So you're ready to capture video footage for your media story or broadcast. In this training, we'll cover how to capture high-quality footage using nothing more than your mobile device. Now you might be thinking, but what about the professional cameras and microphones? And you're right. These tools do have an important place in the production of news content. However, the camera-equipped mobile device that you hold in your hands offers some advantages that those professional pieces of equipment don't. What advantages? Convenience. This mobile device is smaller, more portable, and more easily operated than many high-end cameras. Many of the settings allow for auto and manual calibration. These features enable you to capture footage on the go, remain agile, and move quickly to follow the story. They also allow you to begin recording with minimal setup and eliminate the need for a lengthy breakdown process. Approachability. Using the common mobile device instead of a bulky, rigged-out camera system will be less intrusive when you go into certain venues and events. Oftentimes, venues will not allow for bigger, more professional cameras, but will permit the use of a smartphone. Furthermore, a huge camera, a microphone, a light can be intimidating for an interviewee. The diminutive form factor of your mobile device will put your interviewee at more ease than will the professional option. Accessibility. Most of us already have a mobile device equipped with a camera, whether it be a smartphone, a tablet, or a device that's available to borrow. Combined with a little know-how, virtually anyone can capture quality footage. Furthermore, there's a saying, the best camera is the one you have with you. This means that, especially from a news gathering standpoint, where opportunities come and go quickly, simply having a means to record something is more important than the apparatus you're using to record it. Let's say you have 30 seconds to interview a teacher before they have to start their next class. If you're filming on a professional camera that requires boot up, add-ons, adjustment of settings, you're probably going to miss that interview. However, with your mobile device, you could be recording before you say 1, 2, 3, go. Even more so, we are seeing many professional news gathering agencies that use smartphones in the field to gather news footage for these very same reasons. So you should feel empowered and equipped with the device you already have available to you. So let's jump in. Regardless of which camera you're using to film, the principles of image acquisition are the same. Back to the stove analogy. It's not the stove that makes the delicious meal, it's the chef. Applying these principles with a smartphone camera can produce a higher quality image than neglecting the principles while filming on a professional camera. Bottom line, the difference is you and how you apply the principles of image acquisition. Now here they are. Composition, focus, exposure, color, and audio. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll use Adobe Rush because it's free, cross-platform, and robust. So after downloading Adobe Rush from your respective app store and launching it, you'll tap the plus icon at the bottom of the screen. Then tap Take Video or Photo. Here, Adobe Rush will access your camera functionality. It'll give you the option of filming in either Auto or Pro. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to using each of these options. In the next few minutes, I'll demonstrate for you what each option does and when it might be useful to use. First is composition. Where do you want the subject? And how should that subject fit within its environment? In Adobe Rush, there's a useful composition tool to help you effectively compose your image. At the top of your viewfinder, you'll find a crisscross icon. Tap this and Rush will provide a rule of thirds overlay. Rule of thirds is a widely used and effective guide for composing your image. It divides your frame with 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines, creating 4 intersection points. The most interesting parts of the frame are at those 4 intersection points. So for an interview, for example, try placing your subject's eyes at either the upper left or upper right points of interest. Usually, interviews for broadcast are best composed at eye level. Compare these compositional options and decide which is most effective. After you've captured your interviews, or A-roll, you'll want to capture some B-roll or footage that further illustrates what your A-roll says. But instead of just filming B-roll shots from the same perspective, consider taking advantage of a variety of compositional techniques. A useful approach is known as WALDO, which is an acronym for Wide, Angled, Low, linking, depth, and opposite. These compositional choices can take your B-roll to the next level of interest and variety. Focus. Once you've effectively composed your image, it's now time to move on to focusing the image. Simply put, your image could either be sharp or blurry. In most cases, you'll want your subject, often an anchor or an interviewee, to be sharply in focus. To do this, make sure Pro is switched on. Then head down to the dashed square icon in the bottom of the screen. Here you're given the option of enabling autofocus or not. Autofocus is a good idea to use in a situation where you don't have much time to dial in your settings. It'll automatically bring your subject into focus, which is great. But the downside is that the camera is determining the focus. So if your subject moves or the scene changes, so will your autofocus. Manual focus can be dialed in precisely using the focus slider. And once set, it'll remain no matter what happens in your shot. Exposure. Once you've properly focused your image, it's now time to set the exposure. Exposure refers to the overall brightness of your image. It's important because one of the telltale distinctions between amateur and professional footage is proper exposure. Oftentimes, poor quality footage will have highlights that are blown out or clipped, or the entire image might be too dark. Just like the focus, most mobile device cameras have an auto exposure function, and this may be useful in similar situations where you just don't have enough time to dial in your settings. If you're in a rush and would like to use auto exposure, leave your camera in auto. However, if you want to produce a well-exposed, balanced image that locks in your setting, I would recommend switching over to Pro and tapping the aperture icon in the bottom of the screen. Turn off auto exposure. Now you'll be able to control the exposure manually by way of the ISO and shutter speed of your phone's camera. ISO refers to the sensitivity of your camera's sensor. Increasing this value will increase the brightness of your image. But the trade-off is it'll add noise to the image, which is undesirable. In darker environments, you might just have to raise the ISO to achieve proper exposure and live with the extra noise. But in most situations, you'll want to keep this value as low as possible. Shutter speed, for video purposes, refers to frame-by-frame smoothness of your footage. Increasing the shutter speed value will darken your image while giving the footage a more staccato, jittery look. Decreasing this value will brighten your image while giving your footage more motion blur. For the most natural look to your footage, you'll want to set your shutter speed to double your frame rate. As most cameras shoot at approximately 24 to 30 frames per second, your shutter speed value should be set to either 48 or 60. Now, Adobe Rush has another exposure tool called Exposure Bias that will help you simplify the process of adjusting your exposure. But remember that to get full creative control of the look of your footage, you're going to have to dive into the manual settings. Color. Head down to this icon, tap it, and you're presented with the option once again to go either auto or manual. You'll have a switch called Auto White Balance. White balance refers to the balancing of all the colors in an image around an accurate representation of the color white. So if I hold up this piece of paper while in auto white balance mode, the rest of the image will adjust to represent the colors in relation to the white of the paper. In manual mode, you're presented with two sliders: temp or temperature, and tint. Temp deals with the warmth or coolness of your image. Tint manages amount of green or magenta. Why would you want to adjust either one of these? Let's say you're in a room with a lot of orange tungsten light. Might be a good idea to cool off your image a little by dragging the temp slider cooler. Let's say you're in a room with a lot of fluorescent lights, which give off a greenish cast. A good way to correct this is by dragging your tint slider a bit to the magenta side to cancel out the green. So when it comes to color, it's really all about balance. Adobe Rush offers some other features depending on the capabilities of your mobile device camera, such as zoom, frame rate, selfie mode, and flashlight. Play around with each of these, as they're all tools that can help you achieve the shot that you're looking for. Oh, of course, let's not forget how to record. Yep, you guessed it, the red button. Audio. As part of capturing your interview, you'll need to record high-quality audio. Now, contrary to popular belief, you do not need an expensive, professional microphone in order to capture great sounding audio. Capturing good audio is all about positioning the mic in relation to the source of the sound. Now, you'll need to borrow a second device to be able to record audio simultaneously with your video. After launching your mobile device's sound recording app, place the microphone side of the device about 6 inches away from the source, in this case, the subject's mouth, and off to an angle in order to avoid plosives. A pop filter or windscreen will help filter out these abrupt streams of air that naturally occur while speaking. After recording your interview, it's usually a good idea to ask your interviewee their full name with proper spelling and their position or year in school, and make this the name of your audio recording. In this training, we've covered the advantages of using a mobile device to capture footage for broadcast purposes, the principles of high-quality images, and how to capture audio. See you in the next one. Now that we have an understanding of how to best utilize our mobile devices to capture professional-looking footage, let's learn how to edit it using the same device. So you've captured some amazing footage for your media story or broadcast, and now you're ready to edit it into a polished, seamless video presentation. In this training, we'll cover basic editing techniques you'll need in order to edit a video using your mobile device. Here we'll use Adobe Rush for the same reasons we use it to capture our footage. It's free, cross-platform, and it offers a robust set of editing tools. Let's jump in. After downloading and launching Adobe Rush, continue with Google and sign in or sign up for an account using your Google email. Then follow the introductory tutorial or keep watching this one and I'll walk you through how to get started. Tap the plus icon at the bottom of the screen. Here you'll create a new project with either existing media on your device, add media, or capturing new media, take video or photo. For this demonstration, we'll utilize this peanut butter and jelly footage that I've already captured. So I'll tap Add Media, then Adobe Rush will show us a list of various locations on our device where we can find media. I'll head over to my camera roll. Your media will be ordered reverse chronologically. Select your clips, name your project, then tap Create. Adobe Rush will automatically create a sequence, then place those clips on your timeline in the order in which you selected them. Tapping the play icon will allow you to view all of your clips in sequence as they appear in your final video. To split a clip, drag the timeline to position the playhead, which looks like a vertical blue line over the clip you'd like to split in two. Scroll to the scissors icon and tap. To achieve greater precision with your edits, you can zoom in or zoom out by using a pinching motion with 2 fingers. Rearrange your clips as needed by pressing and holding on a clip, then moving it. Trim a clip by pressing and holding down on one of the orange edges of a clip, then dragging to the left or right. Let's say you want to add some music to your video. Head over to the blue plus icon in the lower left-hand corner. Choose Media. Here you can either choose a licensed or copyright-free track that you already have, or utilize one of the Rush soundtracks. Preview the track by hitting play. When you find one you like, tap the checkbox, then tap Add to bring the track into your project. All this placing, reordering, splitting, trimming, and timeline sequencing should constitute the first part of your editing process. Once your video is in the desired order, it's now time to move on to adding some additional touches. At the bottom of your screen, you'll notice some additional editing options. The titles icon will enable you to add and customize text for your video. Choose from a variety of text styles, then select the text and edit it to say what you'd like it to say. You can further customize your text by selecting the font, font style, font size, character spacing, line spacing, baseline shift, color fill, outline, and shadow. You can even save all of these editorial choices as a template for use in future titles. Next, you can add a transition between 2 clips by tapping Transitions and choosing from 4 different transition presets. Want to tweak the color of your footage? Head on over to the Color tab and choose from preset looks and adjust the intensity of that look to taste, or dive into the manual color settings. Here you can completely customize your exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, temperature, tint, vibrance, saturation. Give it a faded film look, sharpen, vignette feather, reset your color grade. You can turn it on and off to see the before and after, and you can save this color grade as a preset. And if that's not enough, you can change the speed of your clip with some advanced retiming tools. Head over to the Speed tab, select range speed to determine how much to speed up or slow down a clip. You can even ramp the speed of a clip such that it starts slower and gets faster. Maintain pitch will make sure your audio sounds normal for your clips that have been sped up. To edit your audio, head over to the Audio tab. Here you can select each clip and adjust the clip volume, mute the clip, choose the type of audio, reset, and hear the before and after. Lastly, the Transform tab will allow you to fill or fit your footage to the program monitor. Adjust the horizontal position, the vertical position, rotation, opacity, lock your parameters, crop, reset, and see your before and after. So once you've finished editing your project, it's now time to export. Export your finished project by tapping on the upward arrow in the upper right-hand corner. Tap Export and allow access to photos. Adobe Rush will process your video, and you can find your finished video in your photos. In this training, we covered basics for how to edit your media story and broadcast using Adobe Rush and your mobile device. But this just scrapes the surface. Remember that you are the creator, and this is just one of the many tools available to you to make your vision come alive. Looking forward to seeing what you create. See you in the next one. So we've established the basics of how to capture and edit footage on our mobile device. Now let's bring it all together in our very first media story assignment. Media story number 1. Using the script and interview that you developed and captured, produce a 60-second media story that incorporates the following components. A. The 6 written elements: hook, purpose for coverage, key information, attribution and soundbite, transition, and call to action. B. At least one interview. This is your soundbite from item A, the one you captured last week. C. 6 pieces of B-roll footage using the Waldo principle captured on your mobile device. D. At least one title. And E. All necessary edits to produce a polished media story. Our finished media stories will be shared with our primetime crew to then be included in the broadcast programs that will air over the next few weeks for the entire school to see. Awesome. So what do we have to do? 1. Produce media story number 1. When is this due? That's right, the last day of the school week, Friday, January 29th by 11:59 p.m. Next week, novices, we'll form crews, develop a crew identity, and start our second media story assignment. We'll see you in virtual class. In the meantime, stay safe, stay focused, and stay connected.